Jai Hind. The topic of today is command line interface, how we work on the command line interface. In today's lecture, we are basically going to discuss the command line interface with respect to Windows. As we have already seen that operating system, to work on the operating system, we get two interfaces. One is command line, that is through prompt, and another one is your graphical user interface, in which you use mouse and pointers. So what we are going to discuss, various operations of the command CLI, how we execute the fundamental. We are only going to discuss the fundamental commands, and how to manipulate the files and folders through command line. So basically, first we will discuss the concept of command prompt here for the Windows. IBM invented the PC in late 70s but needed an OS. So Digital Research had an OS but turned them down. So IBM went to small company, that is Bill Gates at Microsoft, that had created the BASIC. So Microsoft had never written an OS but accepted the challenge. So Gates found an OS which is called as QDOS, that is Quick and Dirty Operating System, and purchased it from the person who wrote it. So Microsoft then later on released it as MS-DOS version 1.1, and nowadays it is a most prominent prompt used in Windows, that is Microsoft Disk Operating System. Then MS-DOS 6.22 ultimately released in 1994, and to work on a DOS we use the CLI interface. So how does command line interface work? It begins with a prompt. We will see in an example that what the prompt means. Generally it is a you got a starting point where you enter the commands. So and when you got a prompt, it says okay, now system is ready to take the next command. So type in a command, you type the command over there, and then you press the enter. Your MS-DOS, it took this command, see whether it is valid or invalid. If everything is okay, then execute it. So once this command is executed, then you got a new prompt is displayed, which means okay, now your system is ready to take the next command. So CLI, it executes the command like the Windows GUI, that is whatever you are working on the GUI interface. For all those operations you are having the commands which you can give through prompt. So in CLI, type the command and press the enter. In GUI, you just point and click to execute the commands. How you get a command prompt in Windows? So you just run the dialog box and type CMD. CMD, it is a short form for the MS-DOS command CLI. You may also access the command line through the start all programs menu. So there are two ways, either you run and type the CMD, or you just go to the command line through the start. You go to the start option, and from there all program menu, and you will get the command sub menu over there. The command prompt is always focused on a specific folder. For example, in this case, as soon as you type CMD and press enter, such kind of window appear or on your system. Here you can check that your CMD is running. This is the command prompt which we are talking about, and this is the starting point. So in this case, what's my starting point? It is starting from your initial drive, that is your C drive. So any commands operate on the files and folders in the folder in which you are focused. So this is a focus point. So you can access anything, any file or folder which is residing in the C. You must first focus on the drive and folder where you want to work. So there are ways we will see later on, that is how we can change this starting point. For instance, in this, what is my starting point? My starting point, that is I am starting with the folder A+. Each program or a piece of data is stored as a file on the drive. As we are aware that every content in your file, in your system, it need to be stored in a format of a file, and your files, they are having different extensions. File names have two parts. In DOS, up to your file name, it can go up to 8 characters, and it is having a extension, as we have seen in the example cmd.exe. So this is my file name and this is my extension. And in DOS, up to 3 characters long you can go, and extension is optional in the DOS, that whether you want to give or you don't need to give it. The file name and extension, they are separated by dot. So it is called as 8.3 naming system. What the 8.3 naming system means? It is 8 characters long and this is your 3 characters long. So these characters, but the condition is that these characters, they should not use special characters. They are having different meanings. They are not allowed in the naming convention of a file. Windows does not restrict the file name to 8.3 and it can be up to 255 characters. This is the restriction we are having in the DOS. So to be backward compatible with the DOS, you need to follow the 8.3 standard. For Windows creates 2 file names for every file to ensure the backward compatibility. You don't need to worry about it. So the extension tells the computer the type of a file, for example, whether it is a exe file, a doc file, an Excel sheet, etc., etc. All files, they are written in the binary format. American Standard Code for Information Interchange, that is ASCII, it is used for text. It is a universal file format and it defines 256 8-bit characters. You people are aware of what is ASCII and what is Unicode. So Unicode, if we say, it uses 16-bit code to cover every character for the most common languages. So this is my ASCII character chart. You might be aware of this, that is every symbol on your keyboard, every character on your keyboard is having some ASCII value. For instance, if I say, what is the ASCII value of A? This is the ASCII value for A. At boot, Windows assigns partitions and a drive letter, that is your C drive, your D drive, your E drive, etc. So floppy drives, nowadays we don't use the floppy drives, but whenever the floppy drives were common at that time, the naming convention is them A or B. That is why you never see these two naming convention when you give a partition name to a drive, and it always start with C. That is the hard drive partitions. The naming convention says that you can go from C to Z. CD-ROM drives are named after hard drives, that is accordingly. If you insert, for instance, you are having these 2 volumes, partitions present on your system, and once you insert your PD or CD-ROM or any other external tertiary device, then automatically it will assign as drive E. If you insert another device, then it will say F, and so on. Windows uses a hierarchical directory structure. Files are put into groups called folders. We have seen that we are having a main folder, then it might have a subfolder. These folders, they may have directories as well as files. Now these subfolders, they can have the files and they can have the directories also, and so on. So it is a hierarchical directory tree structure which the Windows follow. In DOS, we call the folders as directories. So whatever you are calling as folders, here we are terming them as directories or subdirectories, just like a subfolders. Corresponding to them, we are having subdirectories. The root directory is at the beginning of the hierarchical structure with folders underneath. That is, this is my root directory. For instance, if my starting point is C, then this becomes my root directory. Folders and files. Folders and files must be unique. So can't be the same name in the same folder. That is, if for instance I am having these 2 files and I want to name as A and then again A, then this is not permissible. But yes, if my file name is A and I want to have in this folder, subfolder with the same name, I can go with it. This is the benefit I am getting with the hierarchical tree structure. C:// it represents the root directory of C. Similarly, what is the root directory of D? It is D://. So, to describe a subfolder, add the name of the folder. So, for example, I am having a D drive. In this D drive, I am having two subdirectories, D1 and D2, as well as I am having a file F1. Now, this D1 directory, it is having, for instance, file F2 and F3. This directory is having only one file, let's suppose F4. This is the, for instance, tree I am having under the D. So, in this case, if I want to work on this, in this directory, if I want to work in this, so what I need to write? First root directory and then the name of the subdirectory under which I want to work. This is, if it is, for example, I want to work on this, then this is going to be F2. For instance, if I want to work on this, then it is going to be like this. Clear? So, this is how we move from one directory to another directory. So, the location of a file is called the path. So, what is this? This is the path of my file F2. This is the path of my file F1. So, in this case, if I am saying this, so what is the path of my file.txt? This is the path. This is the path. So, this is the location where currently my file is residing. Path, it informs that physically where, in which folder or subfolder your file is residing. Now, let us move towards some of the few fundamental commands. First, we discuss what is going to be the structure of my command. So, command line requires the exact syntax for each command. Just like your programming language, you need certain syntax which need to be followed, otherwise your code become incorrect. You need to debug it. Similarly, when we are giving a command, we need to follow certain syntax. Accordingly, we will give the command. So, we are having certain syntax. The syntax says, first you give the name of the command, then type the name of the command and the desired or allowed switches. After writing the command, you will give the switches. What are the switches? These are the options. We will later on see what is these options mean basically. So, this is the basic concept. Switches modify the behavior of the command. That is basically, if I am having a command and it work in a and it is having its you could say basic behavior, but I want it to work some extra. Not only the basic behavior, but it also performs certain extra operations. Then I need to inform my system, okay, this is the basic behavior of this command, but I don't need this basic behavior, I need some extra things also. So, how I inform my system? I will inform my system with the help of options. Here the options are known by the name switches. Multiple switches may be allowed. For example, in this dir, it is my command and these are my switches. I can give multiple switches. How I have given multiple switches? Here I will use the command /w and then your p. So, I am given two switches w and p. So, it displays what the w stands. It stands for wide mode. We will display the directory in wide mode, and I want to display if my directory is having, for example, 100 files. So, no doubt when you give a listing of those 100 files, then you can't get the listing in one page. In a one page, you will automatically got the things on the last page. So to avoid such kind of thing, if you want to display the content page by page, then I will give this particular switch towards the command. This is how, in here I told you that how what is going to be the syntax of my command. Now let's start with certain basic command. The very first command is help. Help is basically tell you what kind of commands are already existing in your system, as well as if you give single help command on the command prompt, then it gives a one line description of each command. For instance, look here I had written help. So it has given the commands and a one line description. For instance, attrib, it says displays or changes the file attributes. If I want to change my file attributes, then I will use the attrib command. Similarly, look at cd, it will display the name or changes the current directory. So these are the, for instance, the commands, and what these commands are doing, only a one line description. But if I write command and I need the information, specific information related to that command, then I will give the command name after help. It will give a specific help for the command. That is, for instance, if I want to find out more about cd, then what I will write? I will write help and then cd. Enter. So I will get all the information related to cd, what are the switches allowed, how you can give cd, what cd exactly do, all this information you can get. There is another thing, if you type command with these two characters, it will give specific help for the command. This is another way. Now come on the next command, that is dir command. The dir command lists the contents of a particular directory. For instance, if you look here, I have given the dir command. This is my starting point. Okay, so I have written dir and then press enter. So this is the information which I got about particular directory. About which directory I am getting? The starting point. Here the starting point is this Scott J. This is the directory. So I am getting all the information, that is volume and drive C has no label, volume serial number is so and so, directory of this, and this is, it contains this information. This is another option, or you can switch available question mark. So it will display the list of files and subdirectories in a directory. I want to know how many files and subdirectories are there and I want to print them, then this is the option I will use, and this is the output I have got once I press the enter command. So if you look here, it is showing the display the files with specified attributes. If I am saying B, it will use the bare format, this option. If I use option A, it will list the files in sorted order. So these are the various things you can do with the dir command. Basically, this what it tell. This we have already seen. Command name, and there are two ways. Either you write this and you will get the information related to that command. But if I want specific information, this is another mode. So what it does, it is providing me help related to the cd command. So what this particular command is doing. So what are the allowable switches in this case? These are the allowable switches in the case, description, and here it is saying press any key. As soon as you press any key, you will go to the next command prompt. What the cd command do? Sometimes corresponding to cd, some systems provide chdir. Here the command is used to change the focus to a different directory. For instance, in this example, I want to move, I am working in this directory, I want to move to this directory. So how I will move? In the command prompt, I will give the cd and the path of the directory in which I want to move. So here CD, it is used to change the focus to a current directory. The CD, if you use the CD with this symbol, then it is used to return to the root directory. Automatically you will move to the root directory, that is your C drive or D drive, whatever root directory you have used in your system. If you want to go, for instance, this is my for example, this is root and these are the directories. Again, I am having some directories over here, and now I am currently working in this directory. I want to move on this directory. So instead of giving the name of the directory, if I give 2 dots, then automatically I will move up. I will jump from here to here. That is, I will move to the parent directory. To switch between drives, type the drive letter followed by a colon. That is, instead of moving to a directory, we just want to change a drive. Then these are the options you need to give if you want to change a drive. Making and removing the directories. Here I am having MD or mkdir. It is used for creating a directory if I want to create a new directory. So I just need to give MD and the name of a new directory, suppose, and automatically the path in which I am working, it will form a new directory for me over there. DL command is used for deleting files, and RT is used for deleting directories and subdirectories. So for deleting the files, you need a separate command, that is DEL, and for removing the directories or the subdirectories, you need a separate command, that is a RD command or RMDIR command. There is a command, that is a deltree. This command is used for deleting directories containing files and subdirectories. For instance, I want to delete a directory which is having a hierarchy underneath, that is, it is a parent and here like such kind of thing is there. Then what will happen? I will use this. So what it will do? It will remove all these contents in a one go. How we will run a program? Change the DOS focus to the directory where the program is stored. This is important. First you need, if you want to run an application, then what you will do? First you will go to the path of that application. For instance, we are aware by default all the applications, they got installed under the file my program. Then you will use the command CD. You will move to this folder. After moving this folder, on the command prompt, you will write the name of the file with or without its extension and then press enter. So I can use both options, either setup.exe or setup. This is the name of the file which I want to run, for example. Now the next set of commands, it is how to work on with the files. So basically the very first thing comes attributes of a file. So these are the attributes which you can assign in DOS. First one is your hidden, that is you can hide the file. Read only, it protect a file from being deleted or modified. System, it identify if it is a system file. And archive, it identify files that have not been backed up. So if you look here, so what we are having, A, that is my archive, and which file, what are the permissions we have given. For example, here I have given the SHR. So this imply ki that is system, it is a system hidden and a read only file, whereas in the case of this, it is a system and hidden, but it read only is not set. So you the person who is having access to this particular file, it can read it or it can change the contents also. The attrib.exe program is used to inspect and change the file attributes. If you want to change, because these are my system defined, if you want to change them, then you need this program to inspect and change file attributes. How the attrib work? Attrib can be used to change the attributes. For example, if I use plus, then it add the attribute. If I use minus, then it will remove the attribute. For example, this is the file to this I want to this is the file, and to which this I want to read, I want to add the attribute R. So what I have done, I have used the plus symbol for the addition, and what kind of attribute I want to add, that is R. So it makes it read only. Now this is the file, I want to make it a hidden. It is already hidden, but now I want it no longer remain hidden. So what I have done, I have removed the hidden attribute which I have assigned to this particular file. So it makes it no longer hidden. To work with the files, we are having a concept of wildcards, that is, they are the special characters which enable the commands to act on more than one file at a time. So what the star represent or asterisk represent, it represent any number of characters, and the question mark represents a single character. For example, if I given this I'll dot txt, what it will done, it will say now this file is 4 characters long, and here the first character, it could be any. Clear? But if I have done, for example, f star dot txt, what it says, it says the starting name of the file, it starts with f, and it could have 0 or more characters present in this. So here dir dot your dir star.txt, it's list all the files that end in txt. If I am giving question mark here, so it says list all the files that end in xt. xt, that is for my extension. So how we work files? Now the commands for working on files and for the directories or subdirectories is totally different. Here we have already seen one of the example where we want to remove a file or we want to delete a directory. So if we want to rename a file, we are having the command ren. For deleting the file, we are having the command del and erase. For copying, copy command is used for making a copy of the file to a new location. For moving a file from one location to another, I am having the command move, and xcopy is used for working with multiple directories. For example, we want to copy or move how this particular thing works. For point the command prompt to the directory containing the files to be copied or moved. For example, this is my directory. Now type copy or move and a space. Type the name of the file. Here you have given the file. Type the path of the new location for the file. So this is my new location, and then you need to press enter. So what will happen? Now this file, all those files which are ending with the, that is all the document which you are having in the in your folder copy, in your folder docs, from there all those my files would be copied to another folder by the name Steam. Now the next comes how to work with the batch files. That is just like you are creating your shells, your shell programs, your scripts. Here we are having the batch files, that is a combining a set of commands to perform a specific function. So batch files are the text files that store a series of commands. One command, you will give one command on each line. And batch files, it is always use the extension .bat. Can edit them by using any text editor, for example notepad edit on the C prompt. For instance, if you are having type notepad, then automatically notepad will open. If you are having edit install, for this is again a default editor, you can give the edit command and the editor got opened. So you can use either notepad or edit for editing them. So batch files, they get their own type of icon. You can here, look here, the icon is totally different. Wherever you find this kind of icon, automatically it tell that this is my batch file. If you type edit and you press enter, you will get such kind of window with the edit command, and here you can write anything which you want to use. and you must be careful that on each single line you will write a single command. How will create a batch file? Using edit, type in some command on their own line. Save the file with .bat. This is very important. You will always save them with the .bat extension. Launch a command prompt and run the batch file. That is, you move to the root directory, and once you move to the root directory, you just give the name of the command and run it. These are few additional command. VER, it shows the current version of Windows. Echo, it tells the batch file to put text on the screen. Type, it is basically display the contents of a batch file on the screen. Set, it display the settings that Windows has loaded by default. Echo, it will display the text on the screen. If you make it off, then it will display the text on the screen. It no longer available to you. At the rate at the beginning of a line prevent displaying the command but not the result of the command. So as soon as you write this, it will frequently used in the batch files to clean up the appearance when the batch file is run. Set and path commands, for these are my system variables. If I want to set the system variables, then I will use the command set. It will display the list of settings that Windows loads by default. Programs and batch files are run from the location where the prompt is. If the program is not located in the current folder, you will receive an error. To tell your command to look in other place, use the path command. Path by itself lists the current list of places to look for a program, that is path, where we want to look for. Now, if whatever you are giving here, so if when you give a command name, so your system, what it does, so whatever you have said, this is my system variable. Path is my system variable, and here you give the different paths separated by semicolon. So when you write a command, then by default what happen, your all those paths or all those locations are being searched for this particular command. Special keys are also supported here. F1 function, a key brings the previous command one letter at a time, whereas F3 it will bring back the entire command at once. DOS key command stores a list of all previously typed commands and can be accessed by using the up arrow key. That is type DOS key. Windows X automatically starts the program. Here you don't need to write DOS key from Windows XP 2000 onwards. Automatically, it as soon as you run the CMD, this command got executed. There is a command compact. This is again system related command for compression or for the alteration the state of the files. Then we are having the cipher. It displays or alters the encryption state of the files. If I use this switch, that is E switch, it specifies the encryption operation, and what's the A switch says? It says to apply it to the files as well as to the directory. If you look here, cipher I have given, so encryption files in. So it is telling that these three files have been encrypted and converting the files from plain text to ciphertext. So these are the basic commands which we have discussed in this lecture. In the next lecture, we will see how these commands actually, I will show how these commands, I will run these commands on the DOS prompt, and then we will see how these are behaving. These are the sites where you can go and look for the material related to DOS prompt. Thank you and Jai Hind.